Hey guys, Karasif here with another review. This time I'll be reviewing the Shinkalion Z E5 Yamanote 10th anniversary from Shinkansen Henkei Robo Shinkalion Z the animation. This is a remake of the E5 Hyabusa from the second series of the anime, as well as its additional modes, done up in the Shinkalion CW style. This includes several things: the E5 Hyabusa itself, one rail stand, set of combination parts, and several armor parts. So, let's get started. First off, we'll take a look at the Shinkalion Z E5 Hyabusa in its train mode. So, like with the original Shinkalion E5 Hyabusa 10th anniversary version, this basically looks identical to the CW E5 Hyabusa because it's based on the same train. So it has the same paint coloring, same details, same basic design, is done up in grey, and so pretty much the only way to distinguish between this and the OG is by taking a look at the sticker design by removing the bottom wheel well. It of course comes with the combination parts that all of the CW Shinkalion do. It of course can be attached to the back and can be rolled around. Next we'll take a look at the rail stand. So this is the same piece that came with the 10th anniversary Shinkalion E5 Hyabusa, the OG version, but in this case it has a sticker labeling it as the Shinkalion Z E5 Yamanote. Once again, this is designed like a set of train tracks, and on the bottom it can be used to store the different armor pieces. So we start setting them in. Like with the OG, we have the waist piece there. We'll have the weapon piece that's going to plug into here. Although this is actually 4 different pieces combined, but you'll kind of see why I have them pre-combined a little bit later. Then, once again, we take these panel pieces. I'm going to plug them into the holes here and here. I just want to make sure that this is facing the right way. Okay, yep. Ah, right. Wrong peg. So it actually plugs into here. Right. That's my mistake. Yep, right there, and right there. You have these panel pieces. I'm going to use this plug to plug into these holes. So it should go around the blade parts. I'm going to again take the shin armor pieces and I'm going to plug them into these square pegs there. And finally we'll take this shield piece and making sure that you have this little bend facing up this way, I'm going to plug it into this peg right here. And like that you have everything attached and stored away. Then you can flip it around, it's all stored quite neatly and nicely. And you can place the Shinkalion Z E5 Hyabusa on top. And one of the cool things about this is you take this and the other rail stand, you actually interlink them together like that, and display the 2 anniversary E5 Hyabusas together. Which in my opinion is quite a cool feature, and again, a big thing as to why these stands are important is that if you have them both like this helps you distinguish between which one is which. After that, we'll take a quick look at the default robot mode for Shinkalion Z E5 Hyabusa. Like with the OG E5 Hyabusa 10th anniversary version, this is meant as just a base for the further completed modes. can see the head design, which does look different from both the OG and CW versions. Also see, got the inner pieces in gray, some different designs for stickers on the waist, arms, and legs. But is overall pretty much the same robot. We just need to add some extra parts to it. Following that, we'll bring in the rail stand with the armor parts to attach some to ZE5 Hyabusa. However, we'll be doing this in 2 stages. So we'll be using some pieces for the first stage and then the rest of them for the second stage. So the pieces we're going to be needing are going to be these panels down here, as well as this piece, and these pieces. We're going to want to come around to here. Actually going to take off these pieces, but we're not going to use them. And separate out these 2 from the middle of this middle piece. So, going to take the shin armor pieces, and like last time, I'm going to make sure that this part is facing outwards. Attach those to the shin sockets. Like before, we've got these panel pieces. You know, flip out this piece, attach it to the hole inside of the knee. Like that. I'll do the same for the other side. Then we'll take the waist armor, attach it right there. And then we'll take these 2 swords, attach one in each hand. And here we have the Shinkalion Z E5 Hyabusa. So we've added a few pieces here. First of all, we've added its twin weapons, the Excaliburs. These pair of golden swords with rail-like patterns on them. We've got the new waist armor that matches up with the designs seen on the stickers, as well as having that same kind of structure of the folded-out panels, which, as you can see here, unlike the ones that came with the OG E5 Hyabusa, were designed to more collapse in, rather than just being the panels themselves. And of course, they can be angled back a little bit, like this, for a bit more show accuracy. Still has those same panels, but has more of an angular design to them, rather than being curved slopes. However, we can then add on the rest of the pieces. So for that, we're going to take out the Excaliburs. And then we're going to detach the shoulder pieces. So first, we'll take these pieces, which are going to be the new front shoulders. And basically we're going to take the reverse shoulder pads from the original and get those to plug into the back. Gotta straighten these out a little bit. I'm going to take this piece right here, and we're actually going to be making use of a technique that we saw with the air trailer. We're going to take the shield piece from the combination parts, attach this to the peg on there, and attach that to the arm. Last thing we need to do is take this piece, we're going to actually flip it around to the back where we have an extra blade, flip that out, attach these pieces to the side, then using this piece, attach it onto the right arm. And here we have the Shinkalion Z E5 Yamanote. So this gets into the gimmick of the Shinkalion Z series, which is that the Shinkalion, which of course are based on Shinkansen, could be combined with Zyliners, which are based on the local trains owned by Japan Railways. In the case of E5 Hyabusa, combined with a train from the JR Yamanote line. So you can see pieces of it here on the shoulders. You can see these are the side panels complete with doors done in a kind of lime green color. On the right arm we have what's called the Yamanote sword, which consists of the Excaliburs plus this middle blade, as well as the front of the train. It actually says Yamanote in kanji and then Yamanote line. Then we have this door shield here on the other arm. You can see E235 Zyliner written on it. So this definitely adds on to it and adds a little bit more color to it. Though from what I've seen, this is technically a little bit inaccurate, as the Zyliners actually gave new arms, new colors, and so for E5 Yamanote it actually had green arms, but I think in theory, unfortunately this is not something I can really demonstrate now because I have it in storage, but if you were to say have Phantom Shinkalion, you could probably take those arms and just swap them out for these to give it a slightly more showy-haired look. But this is definitely the best they could do with the parts that they were given. And technically speaking, if they did include an alternate set of arms, while sure it would add to the look, technically it would also just be some extra pieces with nowhere to be stored. So I can kind of understand why they went for it like this. But from what I've seen, this still is a pretty good representation of the Shinkalion Z E5 Yamanote. Of course, being part of the Shinkalion CW system, the Shinkalion Z E5 Hyabusa can be combined with an air vehicle for a vehicle combination. In this case, I've created Shinkalion Z E5 Hyabusa Top Lifter form, which adds in a nice splash of yellow to the mix. And before I forget, of course, like with the others, you can open the front of the cannon for the Z Grand Cross. Finally, if you have all three of the CW E5 Hyabusa, you can combine them together into a Shinkalion SRG, but beyond just the standard combination, there's also an exclusive combination using these three, as well as all of the armor parts from the 10th anniversary E5 Hyabusa and E5 or Z E5 Hyabusa. So, I'll show you how to do that. For the basic combination, you're going to want the 10th anniversary original E5 Hyabusa as the center, the CW version as the right arm and leg, and the Shinkalion Z version as the left arm and leg. So, starting from the legs, first thing we can do is take our two waist armor pieces. I'll take the one for the OG E5 Hyabusa and put it on the right leg. And take the one for the Shinkalion Z E5 Hyabusa, put it on the left leg. Another thing to note about this is that for this, you actually don't want to have it in the normal formation, but you want to have these attached in the triangular formation, like with Unite Shinkalion. Anyway, from there, we're going to take the side panels from the original E5 Hyabusa, and using these pegs, connect them to the holes here on the shin armor, or I guess the knee armor, like that and like that. Take the side panels from the Shinkalion ZE5 Hyabusa and plug them into the thighs, right here and here. Then moving upwards, I'll come around to the back. We're going to take the side panels from the two. I'm going to take the curved ones from OG E5 Hyabusa and attach them to these lower points. Like that. Attach the one with the slanted panel to the upper point. So like that. Come around to the other side. And do the same thing over there. Let me find the panels. So again, curved ones go in the lower port. And the slanted ones go in the upper port. Like that. Then we're going to craft the weapon. So we're going to start with this. I'm going to remove this panel here, as well as one of the swords. I think it's this one. That should attach onto the side here. Oh, actually, no, it's the one on this side, so get that there and there. I'm going to then reattach this piece here like that. And that's going to go into the bottom part of the hand. Like that. Take the Kaisatsu sword and take the wing pieces. I'm going to plug this one into this side. And this one into this side. Then we'll take the shoulder panels for E5 Yamanote. Going to plug them into these side pieces. They should sandwich together like that. So we have this part. And now attach into the upper part of the hand. Going to take the door panel shield here. I'm going to, taking this way, plug it into the left arm. And finally we can take this last piece, which went unused in the video for the original E5 Hyabusa, and then plug that onto the head. And here we have Shinkalion SRG E5 Grand Cross. Now this name is important for two different reasons. The first and more obvious one being that it's a reference to the Grand Cross attack used by all three generations of E5 Hyabusa. But the second one is in the word cross, in that the Japanese kanji for the number 10 is in the shape of a cross, and of course these two remade Hyabusa are being made as part of the 10th anniversary Shinkalion project. So you've got, two different meanings that are both pretty significant to this combination. And we start to take a look at it from the top, we can actually see this new helmet piece, which has a golden cross on it to further represent the 10th anniversary. This also helps alleviate one of the big problems I have with the SRGs, which is that the heads tend to look too small because of how the heads don't change size, but the general proportions of the rest of it do. Not to mention having an attachment helmet here is also a reference to the toy line for the original Shinkalion series, where you could combine two different Shinkalion together, and when you do, they would get a new helmet piece to attach on there. We then also have this massive trident weapon made from various armor pieces, which is itself a reference to a combination between Shinkalion Z E5 Hyabusa and Shinkalion Alpha X. Got the shield over here, done similarly to some other SRGs. Or actually, I guess more similar to Unite Shinkalion, and that's kind of what we got going on back here with these nice boosters or thrusters. And then we have the other armor pieces attached down here to help fill it out, and it's definitely quite an impressive combination for not only combining together the three different generations of E5 Hyabusa, but also being able to make use of all of the different armor pieces for one cohesive and very cool looking robot. And for anyone wondering, unlike with combinations like Chaos Shinkalion and Unite Shinkalion, instead of having the QR code for instructions be on the box, instead you can find it in the instruction manual to either the 10th anniversary E5 Hyabusa or E5 Yamanote. Got that right here. This will take you to the web instructions to make that combination. And there we go. So overall, like with the CW version of the original E5 Hyabusa, the E5 Yamanote is a good recreation and remake of that Shinkalion Z toy, but done up in the CW style. And it does get the benefits of it, having the better proportions, better articulation, as well as the other compatibility features. But I definitely say that the best part about it is if you get this as well as the remake of the original E5 Hyabusa and have the CW E5 Hyabusa, so you can combine them all together. And I think the Shinkalion SRG Grand Cross is definitely very impressive, not just for being three Yamanote, or rather three Hyabusa put together, but the fact that they were able to make use of all different pieces to give it this dynamic new look that we haven't really seen on an SRG at all. So I would, my recommendation would be, if you have, the original CW E5 Hyabusa, I'd recommend picking up both this and the OG CW Hyabusa, so that you can make that combination, because it definitely is a nice way of just kind of showing the legacy of E5 Hyabusa, the main character, kind of star Shinkalion, throughout the years. Now, there is another toy as part of the 10th anniversary project, that being a Bandai Chogokin version of the original E5 Hyabusa. However, I don't think I'm going to be getting that, because that is very expensive, costing $100, and also looks like a very complicated transforming toy that I don't know if I'm really up to getting my hands on. But, for more casual collectors, this is definitely, or these two are definitely a nice way of celebrating the 10th anniversary of Shinkalion, and as I have actually seen in my research, the line will still continue from here on. Next time I'll be reviewing the Goju Wolf Wild Power-Up Set. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and if you're new and would like to see more, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. And for now, this is Carrot50, writing off.